everyone, welcome to day 25 of the Learn How to Study Abroad in 30 Days series. In today's video, we are going to be talking about managing expectations for study abroad. So I know the same images that you were thinking about of people just hanging out and chilling and going to the beach every day. And that is definitely a part of study abroad, but that is not all of it. And so I always like to work with students to help them manage their expectations a little bit, still being positive, but definitely making sure that you understand that once you go abroad, you are actually going to have to study. Let's go ahead and dive into the video now. So for day 25 of our program, we are just going to quickly talk about some expectations of your study abroad program and why you should be realistic about what you're thinking about. So I always like to have this conversation with students after we've kind of gone through the process of them getting accepted into a program, and they're really excited, and I'm also really excited for them because I know what this adventure means and how it's going to change their life. But I also always like to say to set realistic expectations, because as we have talked about, study abroad is not just a vacation. It is something that is an endeavor that is not for the faint of heart, and it's going to take a lot of work, as probably more work than it would take when you're on campus. So you're just going to want to have realistic expectations of, number one, being very kind to yourself as you sort of transition into getting ready to go to study abroad, because there's a lot of things happening, and you'll start to notice that you are changing, your mindset is changing even before you leave. So you know that you're getting ready to enter into something new, and there's a lot of unknown, and that is totally acceptable. But there's a lot of nervousness around that as well. But there's also sort of a lot of, much more kind of rose-colored glasses, if you will, of just thinking of what it's going to be like. So I always like to sort of use this. I know that there are so many different variations of this online and in the world, but it really is kind of that, reality versus fiction. So study abroad daily life in your mind is what we see on the left over here, where you just think it's going to be just walk on the beach, walk in the park every day, good times, and you're just going to be chilling out, and you're in this beautiful new city, and it's all the time. Whereas in reality, on the right, you will see that you see someone who's very stressed out. They're trying to focus. And so I want you to be able to temper yourself, because, again, I always like to say that I don't like to look at things from a negative perspective. So study abroad is one of the most amazing times of your life. And for most students that I know, they loved it. A lot of students I work with have even done it multiple times, like myself. There are some students that have a bad experience for different reasons, but for most students, it is a wonderful time, but you have to have realistic expectations. So even though you are going to be in this new place, doing all these new exciting things, getting to travel, getting to meet new people, you still have to study. There's something that I say in a lot of videos just on my channel, that I say that when students hear study abroad, they hear the word abroad, but they don't hear the word study. And so you have to be able to bring those two together and make them make sense of the fact of, in a lot of ways, you may have to overcome more things, as we talked about, whether it be language barrier or just the fact that you're in this new place and suddenly you've lost 3 hours of sleep, or, maybe you're living with roommates. This could be your first experience with that, and it's very overwhelming, or maybe the classes are just a lot harder. And so I want you to be empathetic and kind with yourself, but also just sort of temper those expectations. Now, what we ultimately want is that you have sort of middle of the road expectations and everything exceeds your expectations. What I don't want, and what I find for a lot of students who do have a bad experience with study abroad, is that their expectations are at a level 50, and they're at a level 50 from them going in, and then when they actually get there, everything that happens to them is at a level 25, and then by the time they come back home, their experience, they're looking at it from a level 10, and so you want to temper that. You want to make sure that maybe you're going in at a level 25, so that's pretty middle of the road, but everything was so great that you're at a level 50 or at a level 75 by the time that everything is over, and you want to just tell everyone about your experience and encourage people to go and do it themselves. You don't want to set yourself up for failure that way, and so you definitely want to be positive about it, but also be realistic. So keep that in mind as you're preparing to head abroad and begin this process in person. And so I hope this video has been helpful for you as you begin to think about how you're going to manage your expectations for study abroad. One of the things that I always love about my students that I work with is that they are so positive and excited. We need more of that in the world. But I also don't want you to kind of come crashing down with disappointment as well when you actually start to get into the reality of things. So that's why I think it's important for us to talk about it. I will see you tomorrow for day 26.